welcome to another TARDIS console building video. We have a lot to do today. We have booked pretty much this entire Saturday to get as much done as possible. So far, one thing I did that I didn't really mention in the last video because I did it after, I just did this actually this past few days actually, is I felt that the console base was too high. By about 3 inches. So that was all me. When I scaled it down, when I scaled down the actual TARDIS console, I had to make sure that the height was at least approximately correct. So I had to fatten up a lot of the rungs and everything. So when I did that, I miscalculated based on where it should land on me, and it was about 3 inches too high. So I came in and I sawed it all down and apart, and we just put it back together and glued it down, and it's pretty much back to normal, just a little shorter. And you'll see that in this video for sure, but I'm very happy with it. So today, this is our plan for the day. Bottom drawers and clamping everything together and hopefully getting as far as close as we get done here. So we're gonna get this started and we'll go from there.
All right, so what you're seeing here is our way to chamfer, which I will show in a second here, a little bit of a close-up when I go back to the actual talking, or the actual videoing there at location, but it took a little bit to figure out how to get a good cut here. We tried a couple things before we did this, but as you can see, this goes quite a bit faster in this little rig that we made, and was made to get an angle correct, which I'll show again in close up here momentarily. And now here we are, basically working out how everything goes together, making sure things land up right. It still didn't go as perfectly as it could have, but it definitely helped us get a view here. And here we go, change the angle there. Trying to figure out how to get that bottom panel to go as flush as possible. Working on our paper copies here to make sure that everything went well. There was a little goof up we feel with the cutout piece, but it still worked out. Everything worked out fairly nice for what it is. And we're just working away at it. It didn't go too bad.
All right, so what you just witnessed was us getting ready and cutting up the bottom trapezoid pattern. And why we had to do that was, and I'll show it here as best as I can, this is the bottom piece. Okay, so in order to get the angle correct, it needs a 20-degree cut. So that when it's like this, it creates a level edge to keep all the other stuff on top of it. So we had to do that, we had to rig up that weird shaped piece of wood that you just saw us fast forwarding through, and it worked out great. So we did all 6 of those, and now we're just figuring everything else out. So basically at the chamfer, what we should have done originally is chamfer out the sides of the ribs just for where this sits, and then we're going to continue on and we're going to just go for it and make a little A-frame for the top of that, and the walls for inside of that, and then the bottom drawers will just pretty much be done, and it's all finishing touches at that point. So thanks for sticking with me, and let's keep going.
All right, so we have to take each of these ribs, and we probably should have done this before we constructed them, but we didn't really think it all the way through right away. But they each have to have an angle cut in each of them, a chamfer, in order to actually have everything sit flush. When you're working with triangles and angles and all that kind of thing, you really, really have to make sure everything matches, everything makes it flush and flat as much as possible. And then we also had to cut lots of material. So we had to get one other sheet. I think that out of all the sheets that it brought us to, probably about 10 in total. And we're just cutting out all the details for the bottom. So these are all the detail pieces. And here we go. Trimming things down so that it can fit on the walls of the interior. And one cool thing about the interior or the bottom drawer is that basically it grips on to the rib panel. So those triangle panels you saw on the ribs, they are there for support of the bottom drawer, which then the top drawer sits on to be on the top. So everything supports itself and really pulls in all the weight into the center. Here we are just basically figuring out how it all works and figuring it all out and going back and forth and going from there. So here we are now, testing everything out, making sure everything's proper, the way it should be. Lots and lots of figuring out. Never ever. What was the old carpenter motto? Measure twice, cut once. So here we are, gluing for the first time, nailing it down. They're going to be doing a great job supervising Jay did a lot of work on this, and I can't be any more happier or even more thankful for all the work that he did for me on all this. But you can see as we're getting a little closer here, getting everything in there. We got the base set up just briefly there, just so we can kind of make sure everything's fitting in correctly. And there we go, testing it. One thing we noticed actually was that it didn't quite fit in there. We had too long, so we had to chop away just so it fit in there. And there we are, just making a little test. I'm very happy. Hopefully you can see that. The super fast forward here and taking a lot of pictures, taking it down, taking everything over, looking it over, and then we had to put the bottom, the final piece, cross beam across, because it basically looks like a giant A when you're looking at it. And just making sure everything's good. I'm actually using the nail gun quite a bit, and in the next video you'll see me using it a lot more.
Alrighty, now we got pretty far. We're gonna take a bit of a break and we'll pick this up another day, but we have the bottom drawer done. So this is the part that goes right on the bottom, and then you have the top piece to go on, and then they go together. So next build day is going to be making 5 more of these guys, then taking the 6 of those, putting them up there, working out the trim, working out the top hex, and then the build days will be done. And then we'll be back to, well, not the build days completely, but the actual wood crafting wood days, which my camera, my hair, my tripod, which is all nice and dusty. Ugh. Get them all cleaned off and don't have to worry about sawdust anymore, but getting there. Anyway, if you have any questions, comments, talk to me down below. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you can follow me there. For now, just thanks for subscribing, watching, and following along with this incredible TARDIS journey. Anyway, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.